We also have a little bit more information about ZETA. Now, I think when we were talking about ZETA and even ranking them, we were assuming that Dep would be with the team, I think, and that Honey Bunny would be the player that was dropped. And so I was actually quite surprised to see Sheep reporting that Dep is off to reject and is no longer going to be with ZETA. So Dep, after, he's got to be one of the most long-standing players for a team for ages. I mean, when did he even join? 2020 or something?
Yeah.
Like absolute Jupiter and everything. So
yeah, he's been around forever and now parting with the team. For them to bring in who? Are they keeping the exact roster that they ran at RedBull Homeground?
Well, that's not confirmed yet, but
not confirmed. Right. And I really cannot say these words out loud. I heard a rumor and it is too fucking ridiculous for me to repeat it, so I have to keep my mouth closed.
Don't be that guy.
Shober knows what I'm talking about.
The Foxy 9?
Here, I can tell you guys. I can tell you guys in the chat. And we can do like when I told you guys about Carpe forever ago.
Oh yeah, dude.
We could have that moment and see how this goes over. I can't say it out loud.
Who's a free agent that would even be boggling your brain like that? Aspas. The chat says it's Aspas. Dude, that'd be so funny though when all of MIBR decides to sign just because Aspas does.
Fucking way. No way.
That doesn't make sense. That can't be true.
Look, the people on the street, they're whispering in my ear, and more often than not, when I hear these whispers from these people, it ends up being correct.
That can't be true. It can't, like, it makes zero sense.
I mean,
it can't be true.
Sure.
It literally zero, though. Literally zero across.
It's not even funny.
I'll give the chat this one for free because they're all saying Jonah P. It's not. I'll give you that.
Jonah P would have been crazy though.
It would have worked too because he could fill that role.
But also, if this is true, it completely fucks up another team.
You said it. You said it, not us.
All right. Our hands are tied. We can no longer discuss this any further. But
I'm not fully buying into that one. But
no,
to go back to the
crazy.
actual topic of Dep though. Like I was so frustrated because this got announced. I think like right after one of the days that we finished broadcasting. It was like when ZETA got eliminated from SOOP. And I was at the end of that match, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna be a glass half full kind of guy. Dep's not here. They're gonna look way better when he's back in. I see a lot of potential in Eco and always have. Like, I'm not gonna have the highest expectations for ZETA, but I see the development curve, and I think that everything's gonna be motherfuckers dropped or not dropped, but he's out. You know, he's going to reject. And I was just, every time I wanted to have like a little bit of hope, it just gets stomped on, and pissed me off.
Well, you can rest assured that you at least aren't as depressed as Paper Thin. He's the guy who's most in shambles right now with this news.
Oh, he's distraught.
Yeah.
Why? No. Because I know Paper Thin is a big DFM fan. Was he big on ZETA?
Well, no, he was originally a big ZETA fan, and then he was overall a big Japan fan, and then he ditched ZETA because they were garbage this year, and then he jumped onto the DFM ship. But
he's known Dep for a long time because Dep was a former like PUBG pro player as well as Overwatch and all this kind of stuff. So
yeah, because he's been around. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about. Oh, go on. Do you have a final thing
I just wanted to add on to that because I think there's a lot of discussion about that with Japanese Tier 2, and then like May not long ago was on stream talking about how he found it really difficult to be abroad, which by all means I'm sure it's difficult, but also there's now a discussion of like, well, you know, obviously, for instance, like the PaperX boys obviously aren't having the easiest time because they have to be away from home all the time, you know, same with, you know, the other teams. So there is this question of maybe it's just because the grass is actually greener on the other side for Tier 2 Japan, and now that problem is getting too big, and it's affecting the Tier 1 teams even more. So that's just something to consider with the Dep move.
Yeah. It's a strange scenario. I don't know of anywhere else where that's the case, but... you know, it is what it is. Let's go on to another big piece of roster news. This one shocked me as well. I did not see this one coming either. PaperX released Patman to add invy to the team, which there's many different ways of looking at this. Let's talk about the, you know, how late in the season it is and that kind of stuff later. I just want to look at it on paper, like even if this was right at the beginning of the offseason. Patman out, invy in, 1-to-1 change. Are you happy about that or not from a PaperX performance perspective?
I mean, probably, yeah. Invy is and has been a beast. I mean, The people, I should say, that get fucked the hardest by this, it's not even like Patman, it's team secret because he was their best player for the longest time, and now they don't even have him. He's always been incredibly good. And I think that as far as like fragging potential, clutch potential, he does beat out Patman in those regards. He used to play a lot more of the same role. Just off the top of my head, yeah, it does feel like it's at least a long-term upgrade, if not maybe an immediate one. I don't know. And that's not the slight Patman. Envy's always been insane.
I agree. My only concern is I think I don't know, especially Envy. I don't know him at all personally, right? I've only seen him play and said hi and passing by. But my only concern is that Envy, there's a likelihood that Envy will cause PaperX to regress back to old PaperX, where it really is just W gaming, just trade, just W gaming. And maybe the meta is actually going to work out for it, so who knows? But that would be my only concern, because I think what we all saw, obviously maybe it was a, lightning in a bottle type situation in hindsight, but Patman joining them right before Toronto, the way they were playing at Toronto, there was a lot of balance. So while I do think Envy, mechanically speaking, is an upgrade, and again, that's like Achilles said, nothing against Patman. Envy's just always been one of the top players in Pacific for 3 years now. So yeah, he's there, but stylistically, I don't know. I feel like it might lead to them getting red a bit easier.
I think that that's a pretty reasonable thing to be concerned about, because also I watched a lot of PaperX VODs. I mean, I watched all of the games and then I watched the VODs back afterwards because I was making videos about them. And I can't put my finger on anything specific that Patman was doing to cause that shift. Now, I believe the shift happened. I watched it with my own eyes. I saw PaperX develop their game and become a lot more thorough in terms of what they were doing. And like you said, maybe a bit more balanced as well in terms of not always just sending it so much. But I can't really put my finger on, like, this is why Patman made that difference. And so the conclusion that I've kind of come to is they actually just needed a change. They needed a change that allows you to address things and rebuild some of the stuff from the ground up. And so I
show the rest of them that they're replaceable.
Well, maybe not so much that, but more like when you get somebody fresh in, it forces you to relook at the foundational ideas that you've built, because you have to build all of that stuff up again with Patman. And so if there's an opportunity to change and to shift, you can. It can also just be like mental readjustments as well. When you get a new player in, things feel fresh. You have somebody new who's like hungry. So I think this will probably change them, but I don't think it's predictable how it's going to change them. It could be good or it could be bad. I think PaperX are a very unpredictable team to try to lock into your normal box of how Valorant is played and how teams will shift.
Yeah, I mean there's always a random factor with them, but they also have, I mean, in addition to this change, they had previously announced Wendler joining the team, so kind of reinforcing that coaching and support staff. So I like that they're making those adjustments as well, rather than just trying to lean on primarily Alex, Colin, Mini every now and again, that kind of thing. Having somebody that's they're a bit more standardly.
You make it sound like Mini's the booty call. You just ring him up for like, bro, I gotta fix my defense.
Bro, I'm in Toronto for the next 2 weeks. You trying to? I got a hotel room and the girlfriend's back in Korea. Come on in.